time to start to sit comfortably. And at home too, it's Friday, May 21st, right? Is this the 21st? Mm-hmm. Yes. So May is just flying right along.
Yeah.
So let yourself sit comfortably, and at home, if you are needing a blanket, grab it. I don't plan to use a strap today, but if anybody wants to use one to stretch on their own at certain times, you can always have one handy. Just be mindful as you start to find your sitting bones there, reaching down, and get comfortable for your legs, whether you need to stretch them out or cross your legs, or use your blocks. Remember, I think sometimes we forget that we can, if our hips feel a little bit stiff or iffy, we can put blocks underneath to support, and sometimes that's all you need to take away any kind of little bit of discomfort when you're sitting cross-legged, and sit up tall. So just get comfortable, ease your way up through the top of your head now. Let your shoulders feel like they're just melting down away from your ears. And now once you're sitting tall, it's so much easier to breathe, isn't it? Feel the breath coming into your belly. And let that expansion happen on your inhales, feeling your belly expand a little bit in all directions, like you can feel your back moving, your belly, your side waists even. And not forcing your breath. If it's comfortable to come in towards those 3-part breaths, you can. Let yourself start to move a little bit with your breath. Letting your exhales bring you forward, keeping your back long, and your inhales bring you back up to sitting. So just be mindful, it doesn't have to be a big movement. Starting to allow the breath to move the body so that you connect your breaths with your movement, Randy. I want to come right there. Well, yeah, you can come there. Okay, if you're okay with that. You don't feel too close.
It just seems like my spot.
You go right back there.
That's okay. Just trying to not interrupt.
Oh, you're fine. We just started breathing. Oh, no, we have been breathing, but we just started moving with our breath. So finish off so that you sit up back nice and tall again, and let your arms come on out beside you, fingertips lightly touching the ground, lengthening up through the top of your head. And we'll inhale both arms all the way out and up, and on our exhale, let our hands come down together in front of our hearts. And then we'll reverse and inhale the hands right up through the midline. On the exhale, open the arms on back out and down. Let's tilt our head to the right and let our left arm float up a little bit. Flex through your left hand. And now see if you can just softly turn your face down towards the ground so you release a little bit different place through the side of the neck. And then just gently turn your face back forward so that you come back to where you started there, and then rise on back up with your head and hand comes down. We'll go the other way. So letting your left ear come towards your left shoulder, and let yourself float the right arm up and flex the hand a little bit. And then again, when you're starting to turn your head down, just kind of feel where you change the feeling of your release, your stretch there through the neck, or maybe even, into your shoulder, into the upper back. And then turn again for your face to be forward. And as we rise the head up, the hand will come on back down too. Now bring your hands behind you. Clasp, interlace your hands back there. Bend your elbows a lot And squeeze your palms towards each other a little bit. And even squeeze your fingers towards each other. So you feel the bones of your fingers and you're really squeezing everything. And then release, let the hands come lower so the arms are longer. And start to ease your way forward into that seated forward bend. Now flex your feet. Press into the outside edges of the feet. Imagine you're leading with your chest to come forward here. So that you're not rounding with your shoulders forward, but you're feeling the chest leading you there. Press gently down into the feet still, really feeling engaged into your hips. Good, and then we'll rise on back up, and we are going to switch the cross of our legs, so you can lean back and switch the cross of the legs. If you need to stretch your legs out a little bit longer, do. And then once you come into sitting tall again, release your hands on out beside you. And let's inhale both arms all the way out and up. And on our exhale, bring our hands down together in front of our hearts. And let's inhale the hands right on up through the midline. And on the exhale, open the arms on back out and down. And this time, let's inhale our right arm out and up overhead. And come over into side stretch. So letting your left hand maybe come a little farther away from you. And then you bend that elbow as much as you choose, coming into releasing into the side body. Let it feel good. And you know, if your neck feels a little iffy and you want to turn your head a little bit from looking forward to down to up a little, do. And then we're going to rise. Use your belly to help you rise back up. And we're going to reverse to go to the other side. Left arm up. Right hand comes out a little farther. And then once you put some weight into it and start to bend that right elbow, letting yourself come as deeply as you want into that side stretch. One more breath. And then we'll come back up again all the way using our belly to help us up. Bring your hands again behind you and go ahead and let your arms be longer and the elbows kind of soft. And then again, flex your feet and come on forward into that seated forward bend. So take your time, you know, don't go any farther than feels good. Again, imagine you're leading with your chest. So let yourself, instead of rolling, rounding those shoulders forward, like broaden out across your chest. Good, and now release your hands in front of you. Give yourself a little support there on the floor. And let's walk over to the left. So coming out over that left thigh. Think about, once you get as far as you want to go, drawing your right hip back a little bit, your right sitting bone even back. Now, the sitting bones aren't necessarily on the floor, but you're just drawing back a little bit with that right side. And then we'll come on back through center, and we'll go over to our right side, and then draw back a little bit with your left hip. So drawing backwards a little bit, finding a little more there. And then we'll walk on back into center again with our hands. And you can release to wherever you want. You know, if you like to fold more, do. Pay attention to your own back. Make sure you're not doing anything that feels like your low back feels uncomfortable at all. Should be a nice feeling stretch. And then we're going to release to rise on back up all the way to sitting, letting your arms come on out beside you. Let's inhale both arms all the way out and up. And on our exhale, let our hands come down together in front of our hearts. From here, let's stretch our right leg out and bring our left foot in wherever you want to be, below your knee, above your knee. And we're just going to come a little bit forward, just a tiny bit, just to wake up the back of that right leg a little bit more. Be mindful of that left knee. You know, if you need your foot to be lower, let it come lower, or put a block underneath your knee if you need. And just enjoy. Take a look at that right foot. Make sure you're not rolling to the outside edge of it. You know, you're pressing kind of equally forward into the ball of the big toe mound and the little toe mound. One more breath. And then let's come up. Take a nice inhale here. On the exhale, we're going to twist to our right. So towards that long leg, letting your right hand come on behind you. Lengthening up through the top of your head. One more inhale. And as you exhale, come on through center. We're actually going to go all the way in towards the other direction with a twist. So wherever your hands want to go, keep that length up. look where it's comfortable for your neck, right? Whether you want to look a little bit more behind you is up to you. So one more inhale. And on your exhale, come on back around into center. We are switching the leg again. Left leg comes out. This time, right foot comes in. Again, how high you are on your leg, totally up to you. So feel the heel on the ground of that left foot. Press equally into the ball of the big toe mound, the little toe mound. Come forward. Think of really keeping the length of your spine as you come forward, and focus on really feeling that leg engaging, feeling the back of the leg get a nice stretch there. Doesn't mean you have to go very far to get one, right? Good. One more breath. And when we rise up, we're going to add those twists, inhaling here at the top, and on the exhale, twist to your left. So at first, twisting towards that long leg, lengthening up through the crown of your head. And feel that length in the back of your neck and throat. And, make sure you're not lifting your chin up, so you feel instead more of a shortness in the back of the neck. But there's length. One more inhale. And on the exhale, we're going to come on back around and all the way into the other direction. Again, how far you twist is up to you. Where you look. Just let the spine wake up a little bit there. One more inhale. And on our exhale, we're going to unwind on back into center again. Stretch your legs on out for a second. Shake them out. Do what you need to do. We're heading around to our hands and knees. So if you need a blanket, grab one under hands, under knees. If you need to be on forearms, remember, if you like to be on forearms, you don't even have to go all the way down to the ground. You can use your blocks, and get out of your hands. Actually, that's what I'm going to do today, but you can stay on your hands and come through your cat-cows wherever you're comfortable to be. Now see, as you gently move through your cat-cow, see if you can just feel the tops of the toes pressing gently down into the mat. And remember, if your breath is changing to when you inhale or exhale, it's really okay. Just see if you can imagine that it is the breath just helping you flow through your spine. And we're going to return to a neutral spine. And see, now don't do this if it hurts your knees. See if you can curl your toes under, right? So that you're really stretching out the bottoms of the feet. And if you can go through a couple of cat-cows there with your toes curled under, do. But this puts the knees down into the ground more deeply, right? So don't do it if it bothers you. Good. So finish off the one you're on. Let yourself come on back again to the neutral spine. Now, if you were like me and you were on blocks, bring your hands to the floor because we're going to reach up and back into a downward facing dog pose. So take your time and walk a little bit and play a little bit. Lift a foot up at a time and see if you can circle that foot around. So you move through your ankle, and it doesn't matter where the foot is when you circle it. Just take your time, feel easy. When you come back into your dog, press back out of your hands equally now. Feel your elbows hugging towards each other. Feel your sitting bones reaching back on that diagonal line. Good. One more breath. We're going to lower our knees on back down. And from here, let's step our left foot forward, right foot back for lunge. So coming on up into that first lunge and letting yourself use whatever support you want under your hands, the blocks or floor. And then be mindful, let yourself enjoy feeling the feet on the floor there. Let's keep our right hand down and add a little twist with our left hand onto our left hip and rolling that shoulder up. And now look back down at the floor. Let your left arm come to where You swing it in front of your left shin a little bit, and then as you inhale, stretch the arm up into that twist. And then again, looking down at the floor, letting yourself swing your left arm in front of your shin, and then inhale, stretch it back, up into twist. One more time. Letting yourself exhale, coming down, and on the inhale, reaching back into that twist. One more breath. We'll bring our hand on down, and we're going to switch legs for that twist. So for that lunge. So bringing your right foot forward. Find your lunge at first. Take your time. Feel really easy there. Press the feet away from each other. Feel the belly engaging. Good. And now, again, keeping your left hand down on whatever surface you're using. Let your right arm, forearm, come in front of your shin there. And then as you inhale, reach into that twist. Take a breath here before we move with it. Now on your next exhale, look down. Bring the arm on back down. And on the inhale, we're going to stretch back up again. So again, exhaling, bringing that arm on down in front of the leg, and then inhaling, stretching back up. We're going to do it one more time. So exhaling, looking down, and on the inhale, coming on back. One more breath here in the twist. Really reach through that inner left heel out through the top of your head, and then we'll bring that right hand down. We're going to step forward. Come on into standing forward bend. And you know when you're in a forward bend, it is totally up to you. You do not want to put any kind of pressure in your low back that does not feel good. And you know, or if you haven't heard or been in here when we've discussed it or other, it's really the talk of whether you should round your back at all, if you have any kind of osteopenia, even the beginnings of osteoporosis. So, I just always feel if you're mindful and you're careful when you come into your forward bends, if it feels fine for you to hold your elbows, feeling the full weight of the torso. If not, don't do it, right? Nice full breaths. Let yourself enjoy feeling the breath, expand the ribs. Good. And then from here, we'll bring our hands to our hips as we bend our knees. We're rising up and inhaling the arms all the way out and up. And on our exhale, letting our hands come down together in front of our hearts. Coming into our mountain pose. So, as you come into mountain, actually look at your feet for a second and walk in place a little bit. And adjust if you need to your clothes and let yourself just get really easy. And then come back to the feet just the distance apart you like. Bend both your knees. Feel your sitting bones reaching back just a little bit. And then start to straighten the legs up, bringing the gaze on forward, letting your hands come to your heart and feeling the tailbone reaching down towards between your heels or a little behind. So once the pelvis is aligned, it's so easy. Because really, your body wants to be in alignment. If you can just let yourself, once the pelvis is aligned and you keep the thighs just gently engaging upward, even if you sway around a little bit. Just enjoy feeling the body in space really too. Feeling the air all around you. We're going to unfold our arms right down beside us here, and we'll inhale both arms all the way out and up. And on the exhale, bend our knees and come forward into standing forward bend. On your next inhale, put your hands on your shins, let yourself straighten your arms out, and lengthen your spine out that way. So keep looking down, maybe even just in front of your toes, so you have the back of your head in line with your spine there. And we'll step our right foot back now to come into lunge. Good. Take a couple of breaths here in your lunge. And we're going to make our way then into downward facing dog pose. Spread those fingers nice and wide. Feel your elbows hugging towards each other. Good. Let your next inhale carry you to your plank. Strong plank. When you're there, just pick your right foot up. Bring your right knee in a little bit towards your chest. And then stretch it back long for a three-legged plank and lower the foot down. We're going to do the left foot, knee, foot up, knee coming in a little bit. And then stretch back again to those three legs. And then we'll put the foot down. And we're going to lower down to the mat here. If you want to put your knees down first, fine. Let's come on into a little Sphinx pose. Elbows under the shoulders. Letting yourself, again, adjust the height you want to be in Sphinx. If you do not want to have your elbows under your shoulders, slide them down more towards your waist. Good. Now for fun here, widen your feet a little more towards the outside of your mat, okay? And then see if you can point your feet, but let the insides of the feet roll down towards the floor. So you're kind of turning out in your hips there. There's an easy, and don't do it if it hurts anywhere. Good. And now from here, just go ahead and bring the feet back, so kind of inch them back in underneath you. Come back on to pressing into the tops of the toes a little bit. Your feet are pointed again. And then we'll release all the way down. We're going to come on back to down dog from here. So you can come back to your hands and knees. You can come back to a full push-up. We will bring our right foot forward to come into lunge. And we'll come on back into our Uttanasana, standing forward bend. And then again, use what you need and feel your breath down. Accept your breaths in and out. Very fully and deeply feeling those breaths. Expand the ribs. Good. And one more nice, easy breath. And then we'll bring our hands to our hips, bend our knees. We're going to rise on up and inhale our arms all the way out and up. Once we're there, let your left arm come on down beside you. Bend your right elbow for a second. Just release there through your tricep. And then stretch the arm back long again. We're going to come over into a side stretch and let your left arm hang heavy. Just feel that left arm hanging. Breathe into your side. And then we're going to come up, and as the right arm comes down, the left arm is going to take its place up there. And then come over again. Right arm hangs really heavy. Feel the weight of the arm. Feel your feet now equal in the floor. Really let yourself press gently into that left foot a little more. And then we'll rise up, both arms overhead, mountain with arms overhead. Now you can widen them out if you need. If as you inhale it feels good to look up, you can. And on the exhale, bend your knees and come on forward into your standing forward bend. And let your next inhale help you find that long back. Again, think of the back of your head as being in line with your spine. This time, left foot will step back to come into lunge. And inhale. Exhale into your downward facing dog pose. Spread those fingers wide again. Elbows hug in. Walk your dog a little bit now and make it slow walk. So take time when one leg is bent and one is straight to let the back of the leg really open up on that long leg. Good. And then we'll finish off back into full dog. We're going to inhale our way out to plank. And again, lowering down, however you need. Knees first if you need, coming on down. Now let's come into a little cobra, just little. In other words, let your hands float up. Don't even use them for a second. Make loose fists with your hands. Just let yourself hang out there for a breath. And then go ahead and bring your hands down. Now, if you want to come on into a higher cobra pose, you can. Not necessary. So elbows are hugging in. Let yourself enjoy feeling where you can be there in your back bend. And then we'll release to come back down to the mat. We're going to come on back into down dog. Whether you come again through half full push-up or hands and knees. This time left foot will come forward to come into lunge. And then we'll come on back into standing forward bend. Easy full breaths. Again, whatever helps you support-wise. We're going to bring our hands to our hips, bend our knees, and rise on up to standing. And inhale our arms all the way out and up. And on our exhale, bring our hands down together in front of our hearts. Let's come into just a little chair pose. Sit back, take your time. Torso comes forward. Look down at your knees. Make sure they're coming out over the center of the feet. Sometimes shifting your weight a little more to the heels feels good to let yourself go a little deeper. Let's add a twist, twisting towards your left, bringing your right elbow maybe down towards your left knee. Not necessarily, you can stay up higher. And then we'll come on back into center, and we're going to go the other way. So twisting the other direction. Again, it doesn't matter how low you go. Let yourself feel equal through your legs, your hips, knees equally bent. Good. Come on back into center. Let's all bring our elbows above our knees for a second. Let yourself reach back through your tailbone, nice flat back here. And then see if you can let your arms come out like airplane wings, straight out from your shoulders. You're reaching out as far as you can, away from the midline with your fingertips. One more inhale. And on the exhale, fold forward into standing forward bend. Let your next inhale lengthen your spine. Exhale, right foot back to lunge. We'll move with the breath here. And inhale. Exhale into your down dog. Inhaling your way out to plank. Let your exhale lower you down easily. And inhale into your cobra of choice. Exhale back to down dog. Inhale. Exhale, right foot forward to the lunge. And inhale. Exhale to your standing forward bend. Bend your knees, rising all the way up to the top. And on the exhale, we're going to come forward. Let your inhale lengthen your spine. Exhale, left foot back to lunge. And inhale. Exhale, downward dog. Letting your inhale bring you to your plank. Your exhale will lower you down. And inhale into that cobra of choice. Exhale back to down dog. Inhale. Exhale, left foot forward to lunge. And inhale. Exhale to your standing forward bend. Bend the knees, rising all the way up. And on the exhale, we'll fold forward again. Let your inhale lengthen your spine. We're going to come to down dog. So come into your dog, however you want to get there. Wag your tail a little bit. And then bring your feet a little closer together. Let your left leg come up in the air behind you. Three-legged dog. Point the toes down at first here. Feel equal from your hands, pressing back equally out of your hands. And then bend that knee, open the hip. You can look underneath your left arm if you want. Think of stacking your left hip on top of your right. Good, and then turn the toes down again so that you're squaring your hips. We're going to bring our left foot on forward and through, and we're coming up for warrior two. Have your blocks handy there by the front of your mat. And take your time here now. Get yourself heels lined up. Just anything you need. Your mask, your clothes. Get yourself easy there, and bend that front knee where you feel very comfortable to be. And see if you can look down and put your left hand on your left thigh easily, right? And rise your right arm up, straight up overhead. Your palm faces towards the front edge of your mat. So there's a release for your neck there. Let yourself just enjoy establishing, feeling the legs equal. And now we're going to start to rise the gaze up and the left arm up and come into our warrior two arms. So bringing your gaze now, right arm reaches directly behind you, left arm reaching directly forward. How high you have your hands, that really kind of depends on how your shoulders feel. You can be a little higher than your shoulders. You want to find the best release for your shoulders. Really focusing out beyond, right over that middle finger perhaps. Good, we're going to turn the left palm up. And inhale, reach up towards the sky. Nice full breath into the left side. And on the exhale, we'll come into our side angle. So your left hand or forearm onto your thigh. Look down at the ground. Let the right arm just hang. Like we did when we were in that side stretch. Literally just hanging the arm straight down. Right down from the shoulder. And then let it start to go back and forth a little bit like a pendulum. Swinging forward and back. And then we're going to swing it on up into line with the right ear. And we're going to open into that side angle pose from there. So take your time, let the pinky of the right hand turn down. Press into your left forearm there on your thigh. Draw your outer left hip back. Good. Look down at the floor again, right? From here, we're going to set up for triangle. I like to use a block. You can use whatever you want underneath your left hand. And we're going to straighten that left knee out. Let the right arm just rise on up as long as your shoulder lets you into your triangle arm. And again, you can turn to look forward. If any of you want to think of turning to look up at your top hand, you can. Just be mindful. Let it feel good. And feel the thighs gently engaging up towards the hips. The spine extending out over that front leg. Beautiful. One more breath. Good. And now turn to look down at your left foot. We're going to bend the front knee and come into lunge. So you can just release into your lunge. You can use your blocks. You can put your hands on the floor. And then lower your back knee down to the mat. And, again, shifting the hips forward, you can stay on your blocks. You don't have to lift up. It's up to you. If you feel like you want to bring your forearm up to your thigh, or you want to bring your hands to your thigh and kind of get up again with your shoulders up above your hips, you can. You don't have to. And of course, some of you I know really like to bring your arms overhead when you're up like this, so you can, or you can keep your hands at your heart or on your thigh or down on your blocks. Just be mindful. Let yourself take your time. One more breath. Good, and then come on back down with your hands. We're going to lift the back knee up, come on back to lunge, and we're going to make our way into downward facing dog pose. Good, walk to the tops of the toes a couple of times. Good, and then make your way back into down dog. We're going to come on out to plank. Now you can move through chaturanga or not. You can come right from your plank into an up dog if you choose or not. And then we'll make our way back to down dog. And then do another one or two of those if you can. Out to plank, whether you move through kriya or not is up to you. You can go through chaturanga into those vinyasas. See if you can let yourself move just a little bit. Go ahead and put your knees down if you need. Stay in dog if you'd rather. We'll finish off and meet back in down dog. Good. So once you're in dog, take a breath into your back body. And then bring your right leg up in the air. Coming into three-legged dog. Toes point down. Right knee's going to bend, and you're going to stack that right hip on top of the left. You can look underneath your right arm, or not. And then turn on back down. Toes face the floor. We're going to step the foot forward, and we're coming up for warrior two. So again, getting your blocks there for yourself. Take your time. Line those heels. Once you get fine with the stance there, put your right hand on your thigh. Look down at your right knee or foot. Bring your left arm up. So it's up and the palm is turned to face the front of the mat. And just really let yourself release your neck there. Let it feel good. Let everything settle down a little bit. And now as the head starts to rise, the left arm starts to lower and the right arm starts to rise up. And it feels really good to reach out through the fingertips here. Feel the feet in the floor. Soften the shoulders down. Feel that power and strength of your warrior two. And then we'll put the left hand down. We're going to turn the right palm up and inhale. Reach up towards the sky or behind yourself. Depends on you. Nice full breath into that side. And on the exhale, we'll come into our side angle. So you know where you put your hand or your forearm. That's up to you. Look at the floor. And now again, hang your left arm. So keep pressing into that right forearm so that you're up off the leg. As you start to move the hand a little bit like a pendulum back and forth, the arm hangs, but starts to move. Your hand might kind of be in the way, but just let yourself do what you can. And then we're going to swing the arm on up into line with the left side. so that then we can just open into our side angle, pressing into that right forearm, drawing the outer right hip back. Think about as your left pinky turns down, your shoulder comes down away from your ear. Beautiful. One more breath. And then we're going to look down again. Remember, we're coming to triangle, so you might want to put a block underneath your hand. And watch yourself as you straighten that right knee out. Let yourself really get lined up. Left arm can end up straight up if your shoulder lets you. Thighs engage upward. And you can turn to look towards the long edge of your mat. You can stay looking down, you know that. Or maybe you feel like it'd be fun to try to turn to look up towards your hand up there. Just be easy on your neck. Let yourself feel those thighs lifting up towards the hips. Beautiful. Triangle pose. Nice alignment. One more breath. We're going to bend the front knee. Look at the floor as you bring your left hand down and you turn into that lunge. So take your time. I forgot to say, if you need a blanket, of course, underneath your left knee when you lower it down, do. And then just press a little forward with your hips. And you don't have to go very far if you don't want. Just letting yourself find what you can for opening in the front of that left hip. And the lifting up thing is totally optional. You do not need to lift up at all. You can stay forward. You can stay hands supporting you on your thighs instead of hands at the heart or arms overhead. Be where you can. Not overdoing, just enjoying that stretch there in the front of the thigh. And then we'll bring our hands on back down, letting yourself release back, coming back into your lunge. And we'll make our way back again into downward facing dog pose. Once you're in dog, let yourself find your dog really fully, and then come on out to plank. You add if you want a back bend, not if you don't. Put your knees down if you'd rather. You can come through some vinyasas if you choose. So just be mindful. Take your time. Good. And then come on back, meet in down dog. And we're going to come on out to plank. We're going to do a little side plank right here. So you can either shift to your left hand and do a full side plank here, or you can put your left knee down, use that knee to support you, come into the variation of the side plank. And then we're going to come on back through plank, and we're going to go the other side. So again, right knee can come down if you'd rather. Use it like a kickstand. Come into the variation of your side plank, or you can do your full side plank if you choose. Good, and then we'll come on back into our plank. Let's put our knees down. Shift back towards pose of a child. You don't have to go all the way. It's up to you. Once you get there, let your elbows soften if you can. Breathe into your low back. Good. One more breath. And then we're going to come on up. We're going to curl our toes under, and we're going to reach back into down dog. Good. This is your chance now to do one more vinyasa, because we're going to come to the wall a little earlier than usual. So if you want to move through another vinyasa or kriya right now, do it. Otherwise, you can rest. Put your knees down. Move how you want. Good. And then we're going to meet back in down dog. And from here, let your knees bend deeply. Think about your belly coming to your thighs. Soften your elbows in towards each other. And to come forward on your mat, you do how you want. Step or jump or walk your way up. Come into your standing forward bend. Think about your sitting bones being over your heels. If you're okay to put your hands on your back, interlace your fingers and clasp your hands, do. And if your arms can come forward off your back at all, let that happen. If not, don't do it. You know that if it bothers your back or your shoulders don't like the hands coming away, don't do it. Good. Nice heavy head. Softness through your face. And then we'll inhale, let ourselves release our arms down. We're going to bend our knees, press into our feet, and rise on up to standing. And we'll inhale our arms all the way out and up overhead. And on our exhale, let our hands come down and find your mountain pose easily here. So feel again, like when we started, the air all around you. And if you're swaying a little bit, so be it, doesn't matter. If you can get that alignment in your pelvis and you feel that sense of being equal between your feet, so let your body find that alignment and enjoy just standing in space, really, right? Might even be able to feel the beating of your heart, and let your breath settle down. And then we'll go ahead and release our arms on down and shake out a little bit. And we're going to come to a wall, and we do have room. So, Alicia, why don't you come there? Charmin, can you turn on to that wall? And then Randy, can you come on to that one? Sure. Perfect. And we're going to stay here, so bring all your stuff with you. Get yourself all settled in and get your mat arranged to where you're comfortable the way you are. And at first, we're going to turn to face the wall and do a little pyramid pose with our hands to the wall. Now, as you come here and you step your right foot back, right? Now, if your wrists bother you, all you got to do is come on to fists on the wall. It's pretty easy. You don't have to go way far parallel to the floor if you don't want to. Right? And sometimes, you know, you want to adjust upward a little bit. Sometimes you want to be more parallel to the floor. Try not to go lower than parallel to the floor, though. So you've got that length through the spine. Your thighs are engaging up towards the hips. Be comfortable in your shoulders, so if you can, let your elbows draw softly towards each other, do. And think of drawing your hip pointer bones towards each other. So you don't want to drop into that left hip at all. Beautiful. And just enjoy. Just think about opening up the backs of the legs nice and easily. Good. One more breath. And then bend the front knee. Step that left foot back a little bit so you can come into dog with your feet right underneath your hips. And you're in that L-shaped dog pose where you're like 90 degrees at your hips. So you don't want your feet back behind you. You want them right under you. And you're going to let the right leg come up into a warrior three here now. So turning the toes down towards the ground. Bend both your knees for a second. If you need to adjust how you have the supporting foot, do. And then reach back again. Toes face down. Flex through that foot. Let yourself reach into the inner heel. Keeping your gaze down so you're not looking at the wall and tensing the back of your neck. But you're looking down. One more breath. Bend the left knee, swing the right foot through because we're going to step right back into left foot back for pyramid. So letting yourself line up again. Now remember, how far apart your feet are doesn't matter. Try to let that back foot be slightly turned out to, just a couple of degrees. Just enough to where you don't have the heel directly behind your foot. But your arches are lifting up. And you're drawing your hip pointer bones towards each other. If I may just barely say, drop this a little bit. Yep. And let yourself find that squareness. Think of drawing your hip pointer bones towards each other. Good. One more breath. Nice. Really nice. And then again, you're going to bend the front knee and step so you get your feet underneath your hips and you're at that 90-degree angle. So you don't want to have your feet behind you because that makes it like really hard to lift into that warrior three. So once you get ready to lift the left foot up, if you get it up there and you're like, oh good grief, that feels terrible, then come down, adjust how you have your supporting leg. And that's kind of the ticket, right? Once you get to where you can be, think again about keeping the hips level, drawing the pinky toe of that left foot actually look straight down. Good, that's it. And just enjoy lengthening all the way through the spine. Good. One more breath. Beautiful. And then come on down. Turn your left hand towards the wall right away. And go ahead and, if you want to come into elbows above the knees or a full squat, do. Just let yourself release for a couple of breaths there in your hips. And you can be all the way down if you want, right? Totally up to you. Stay with your elbows above your knees, or if you want to sit back at the wall instead of being sideways, that's fine. Just let it feel good. Good. Now we are going to come up and do a little bit of eagle. You can always have your block if you want between your left foot and the wall. If you prefer to cross your right thigh over your left and use a block, bend both your knees that way, you can. I mean, that block, sometimes just the toes barely touching the block make a huge difference. And if you like to wrap, wrap. I mean, if you're a wrapper and you want to wrap your foot around behind, just remember, be really mindful of your knees in this pose. So take your time. You can have your hand on the wall. You can bring your hands to your heart if you want to balance a little, or come into your eagle arm wrap, bringing your left arm over your right. So be where you can. Feel that squeezing the thighs towards each other. So if you're not in a full wrap, if you can focus on squeezing the thighs towards each other a little bit. Good. And one more breath here. And then to come up, let yourself unwind everything, whatever's wound up, and then turn on around to the other side. Again, if you feel as you bring your left thigh on top, you want to rest your toes a little bit. You know, if you start to work with the block under your foot there, and you feel good enough once you kind of let go of the wall and balance, you can always flex your toes off the block, right? If you like the wrap, you know, again, just be mindful of how your knees feel when you're wrapped. And you can, again, bring your hands to your heart, or you can come into the right arm on top of the left, or you can hang on to the wall, right? Let it feel like you can go to that place very easily. Good. Nice alignment. One more breath. And then when you're ready to come out of it, let yourself release. Let's turn back to the wall. And bring yourself on down so that your feet are back all the way to the wall. And come on into pose of a child. Whether you decide, oh, I want my bottom to be up for a second and just release forward, or maybe you feel like you want to go ahead and shift your hips back. Pay attention to how your knees feel and let yourself release into the pose. I mean, if you want a little more release for your shoulders, you can put your hands on your upper back, let the elbows bend. Or, you know, it maybe feel better for you to just soften the elbows, keep the arms overhead, or bring the arms back down alongside your legs, turning the palms up. So come to your breath. Enjoy those nice, full, deep, even breaths. Good. One more breath here. And then we're going to let ourselves stretch our arms back forward. And we're going to come on to hands and knees and to curl your toes under and come up. If you know being in your hands to have your heels up the wall for dog is too much, you can right away go to your forearms if you want. But if you are on your hands, if you can stretch your right leg up the wall, do, right? And then see if you can walk your hands back towards the wall a little bit. So you come into like a split up the wall. You can go as close to the wall as you want, of course. And if you need to, if it's too much to keep the toes curled under, you can put the top of the right foot on the wall if that's better. It's a nice hamstring stretch for that left leg, huh? And then come on forward with the hands again. Put the right foot down. Then try the left foot. You don't have to be doing this, you know that. And then again, walk your hands back if you want towards the wall. Give that right hamstring time to go, oh, get a nice release. And then, of course, coming forward, bring the foot down if you can, put your knees down. You can rest in child's pose, or if you want to sit on your feet and sit up, by all means do. Take a break, especially if your wrists are screaming at you, and if you didn't do any of that, totally understandable. And now to go upside down again, that's totally your choice. You can go to forearms and do a little dolphin play if you want, so that you come, and play a little bit with your heels up the wall here. You can stay if you want to do a little more handstand prep, feel free. Keep your hands there and go on up, but just be mindful. And if you don't want to be upside down anymore, don't be. Good. Let yourself breathe. It's a good thing we got the air conditioner turned on, isn't it?
Muggy today.
It is so humid. It's so humid in here. And it's gotten, it seems like worse in the last few days when it hasn't even rained. But thick. So, rest. Everybody's kind of into a resting mode. Let's come on around with our legs in front of us and stretch our legs on out.
It's the humidity.
And feel free to sit up on a blanket if you want, because we are going to bring our left foot in, like we did at the beginning of class, really, for a little Janu Sirsasana, that coming forward. So if you need to lower your leg down, foot down, or need to put a block underneath you, or a blanket underneath you. And now without a strap, think about feeling your heel on the ground. If there were a strap around your foot, you could press equally into it. But just instead of using that strap and pulling and tensing up your arms and shoulders, if you can reach and get hold of your foot, do, if that feels really good to you. Some of you might even want to cross your hands and hold on to the inside and the outside of that foot, which also makes an actually pretty big difference from this. It gets you farther forward, but you want to keep coming forward from the low back. And if you get pretty far forward and it feels really good to go ahead and let your head hang, then by all means do. And try not to send your chin forward. Even if you need to keep your head in line with your spine, do it, but try not to lift that chin forward, because that is what really brings tension into the back of the neck. So just let yourself breathe. Feel the torso. It's like the midline of the body comes out over that inner right leg there. Keep engaged by feeling the right heel drawing back towards you. That's going to keep you engaged in your hamstring. Or in the front of your leg too, actually. Good. One more breath here. And now as you start to slowly make your way up, be mindful, we're going to lift that left knee on up, and we're going to cross the leg over for a little twist here. So, it can be below your knee or above. Let yourself lengthen up as you inhale. And on the exhale, bring your left arm on around behind you. And you can hook your elbow, you can bring your arm to the outside if that feels better. So twisting to your left, there you go. And then take your time. I know some of you, I like to sometimes lower my foot down so I can bring my arm more easily to the outside of my left knee there. Because to me that feels great in my shoulders. But if you can, some people can keep their leg in close to them and do that. So be mindful, let it feel good. Just enjoy, feel the length in the back of your neck and throat still. Chin about parallel to the floor. You can look behind or not. Good. One more breath. And now use your belly to draw you back around into center. And we're going to stretch the left leg long and bring the right foot in for that forward bend first. So again, lower is fine, block is fine. Take your time, get yourself set. And sometimes this knee and hip feel fine when you're sitting up. But then when you start to think about coming forward, if you feel any kind of iffiness, I'm telling you, the block can be just amazing help. So just take your time, moving your way forward. Again, it might not be much. You might put your hand on the top of your leg. You might decide to reach down. If you like that crossed wrist thing, you can hold to the inside and the outside of your foot down there. But just be mindful and take your time. Let your heel draw back towards you so you feel your thigh tightening up, but you're also engaged in the back of your leg. Keep yourself from overstretching. And then see if you can feel the breaths all the way in and all the way out. Stay with your breath. More breath here. And now be very mindful as you start to rise on back up. Take your time. And then again, the knee comes up and adjust. You know, you can bring that left leg more to the midline. Bring the foot over, below or above the knee. Inhale here at center. And on the exhale, as you twist to your right, the right hand comes behind you again. You know, if you like to bring the arm across, you can adjust that foot level, that right foot level, if it feels really good to bring the arm across, or you can let yourself just have your hand on your knee or draw your crook of your elbow onto that knee. And then again, lengthen up through the top of your head, through the back of your throat. Good. One more breath here. Now use your belly as you start to unwind, coming on back into center. Stretch your leg on out there. Shake it out just a little bit. And now, grab a block and let your feet come for a Badakanasana instead of onto each other. They're at the block, right? So the block is turned to its less thick level, right? And you can feel your feet. Now you can have it out here where we're comfortable, right? So that you can focus in on pushing your feet a little bit into the block, and you can still sit up nice and tall. So let yourself just press into that block with your feet. Imagine though, as you press in with the feet, that the knees are lengthening out away from each other. Try to sit up nice and tall. If you have to, put your hands behind you. Do it, you know, so that you can push into that block and imagine the knees are reaching away. Feel all that engagement. Good. Keep engaging for another breath or two. You might have to kind of take a break and then press again. Good. And then release. Take the block on out. And now try bringing the soles of the feet together. Bring your hands behind you. And decide, do you want to stay kind of far back from your feet? Do you want to lift your body up and come in closer? Let your bottom come off the floor and then in closer until you feel like you're right at the right spot to be able to sit up nice and tall. And you know, you can vary that a little bit. Go back and forth and let go, and then maybe go back and forth again till you get to a place where it's very easy to sit up nice and tall. Again, I know some people, hips are built to where this is not a comfortable pose. So use your hands behind you if you need to. It's like you're pressing down into your hands and almost like you're trying to lift yourself up off the floor. And there's a lot of space in the spine there. And some of you, it'll feel really like a relief to come forward. If it does, go for it. Let yourself release forward. You can stay with that flat back. If it feels good to round a little bit at the end, you can, of course. Again, there's all this talk about, what is safe and what is not. So just be mindful and let yourself pull back out of it if it's too much for you. One more breath here. And we're going to slowly come up. We are going to add a little twist here, just to even out here. Inhale up through the length of your spine. And on the exhale, twist one direction. Does not matter which way you go. Doesn't matter. Just let yourself come around. Now try not to let the sit bone that come off the floor. So if you're twisting to the left, don't let your right sit bone come off. Let it draw down. One more inhale. And on the exhale, ease your way back through center and go into the other direction. So again, if you're to the right, let the left sit bone not come up. You're still keeping that twist in the middle of your back there. Good. One more breath. And then let yourself come on back into center. Let your hands come behind you and release your feet now wide onto the outside edges of your mat. And let your knees come over to the left. And once you get there, if you can, lift that right hand off the floor and just push a little bit more into feeling the openness here in the right thigh there. Just open up a little more. And then come on back through center, and we're going to go the other way. So once you go on to the right side, left hand comes up, and just imagine just releasing a little more forward with that left hip, opening up through the front of the hip. Good. And then come on back to center. We're going to bring ourselves knees up. We're going to come on down to our backs, but before you do, have both your blocks handy. Okay, and then we'll come on down onto our backs on the floor. Once you get there, cross your right thigh over your left, and then bring your knees in towards your chest. Now, you can hold wherever you want. You know, if you like to wrap in your eagle pose and when you're standing up, you can wrap your legs if you want. Otherwise, just keep the thighs, if you can, crossed together, flex through both your feet. Just play a little bit there. You can draw the knees in, let your hips release, your low back. Now just for fun, bring your arms straight up towards the ceiling, and then bring your left arm on top of your right. Give yourself a hug if you want, or you can come into that eagle or half eagle wrap with your arms. So you're in a reclined eagle. Now send your elbows and your knees a little more apart so your low back comes to its natural curve if it wasn't already there. And let your knees go to the right and your elbows to the left. And don't fall over. And then come back to center. And let your knees go to the right, or the other way. I forgot what I said the other time. So go the other way. And then come on back into center. Again, take your time there. Squeeze your thighs towards each other a little bit. Unwind everything. Put your feet on the floor, your arms out beside you. And we're going to go to the other side. So bringing, oh my gosh. Right, you did right over left, right? We're going to do left over right. Is that right? Somebody tell me that's right?
It's opposite.
It's opposite. You're kidding.
Right over left. I don't know. It depends, I guess, on what you did first.
Do the one you didn't do. You'll know when you bring your knees in, I think.
Yeah.
Well, heck, I don't know.
For me, it's right over left.
So
Put it that way.
bring your arms up in the air. Again, if you like to do the wrap, you can do the wrap. Okay, I did right over left before. before. So I'm doing leftover right now. I don't know about everybody else. And then let your arms go up, and if you can, again, come into either as the opposite arm is on top as the leg that's on top. You can come to half eagle or eagle wrap. Good. And now from here, this whole thing of moving a little bit. Elbows go one direction, knees go the other way. And you really use your belly a little bit here. Come back into center and let the elbows go the other way and knees the other way. So they're opposite, but they're just don't go so far you're going to lose and come all the way on your side. And then come on back into center again. Take another breath here. Remember, you're finding that natural curve in your back, so your knees and your elbows reach enough away from each other. You feel the curve of the natural curve of the back off the floor. And now unwind everything. Stretch your arms and legs up in the air. So let your palms face each other, and your legs, knees are soft. And it's kind of like a dead bug pose. Shoulders are softening down towards the ground. Let your low back just soften down. And see if you can come to your breath. Let yourself feel your breath. And if this feels stressful and not good, then do what you need to do. But if you can stay here and just watch your breath, maybe you can get a little release. We're going to bring our feet down to the floor, knees are bent, arms are going to come down alongside us on the floor. Set your feet up for a bridge pose. And now whether you bend your elbows or keep your arms long, press into your feet, float your way on up. If you want right away to get a block or blocks, go for it. You can put a block underneath you, you can lay on the block and come into supported bridge. You can work up and down off the block. So if you don't want to use the block, you can do the same thing, moving up and down from the floor, so that if you feel like you want to come up in your bridge, you start to feel like you're too much tension going on, release. And if those of you who come up pretty high in bridge pose have never considered two blocks stacked to their highest height, I would consider trying it, right? Even if you don't get up that high on your own, once you get onto the blocks, if being up that high feels like really terrible, obviously come down. But you can try and see. And you can also lift your legs up in the air when you're on the block. So if you're like up there and you're like, oh my, I need a little relief, putting your feet up in the air can give you that. So play around. Do what feels good to you. If you don't want any part of the blocks, don't use them. If you want to come into a full upward facing bow pose, you can come off the blocks. You can bring your hands above your shoulders. Just be sure that if you're up in bridge and you feel when you come down anything at all that's uncomfortable, then come down and bring a knee into your chest or knees into your chest, finding a release where you need to. Start to get some likes at first. When you do come down, everybody in here knows, and you all at home, make sure you release your back however you need. Bringing your knees in. If you want a little happy baby pose, or if you need to come into a little hip release of any other kind, right? We did a lot of hip work today. So, if you feel like, oh my goodness, I need to stretch out a little bit, you can do a little figure four. You can be mindful. Okay, it was so sticky in here, and it's still like getting a little chillier though as we were coming down to the floor. So let me know what I can bring for support. If anybody would like a bolster, anybody wants a blanket for underneath their head or for cover. Same thing at home, you all get yourself comfortable. Bringing your arms to a place where you feel really okay to be for your shoulders, so you can feel nice and relaxed up through your arms into your shoulders. And same thing for your legs, finding a place where you can feel the release from your legs all the way up through your legs into your hips. And just enjoy. Now, feeling your breath easily coming in and going out through your nose. Just giving yourself these few quiet moments. Trusting that your body is going to benefit the way it needs from everything you just did. Allow yourself to completely and fully relax. feeling the firmness of the ground underneath you again, and starting to become aware of hearing the sounds around you and feeling the air on your skin, and letting your breath come in and go out more fully and deeply. As your fingers and your toes kind of feel like moving a little bit, start to wiggle and move your fingers, your toes, your hands, your feet when you're ready. And of course, come on into arms, legs, stretch if you need to, or bring your knees in towards your chest. Just take your time. Come back to gently moving again. You know you can roll to either side whenever you're ready. If you're okay to be on your side, you can stay in a soft fetal position. You can support your head with your arm if you want, if you don't have a blanket there for a pillow. Just take your time so that when you do feel like rising to sitting, it can feel like you're floating your way there, so that you get comfortable in how you're sitting, but it feels good again, actually, to be upright and to have your head up above your heart and sit comfortably, and close your eyes if they opened on the way up, and feel your breath again coming in and going out. And just enjoy that little bit of a feeling of lightness in your head. And let your next exhale bring your hands gently to meet there in front of your heart. And wishing each one of you a very joyful day. Namaste. Happy Friday. Felt like Friday.